with me the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a roll call.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Hilliard. Present. Alderman Keeney.
Present.
Alderman Lancaster.
Present.
Alderman Hall.
Present.
Alderman Swatosh.
Present.
Mayor Barry.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. So.
Excellent, excellent. Do we have any agenda amendments?
There are no amendments to the agenda this evening.
Okay, I do think we have one. We will not be having an oath of office for the mayor tonight. That is 17A. We can strike that. And if we could have approval of the agenda with that change.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with the change.
Second that.
We have a first and a second. Alderman Smith.
Yes.
Alderman Hilliard.
Yes.
Alderman Keeney.
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster.
Yes.
Alderman Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Swatosh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Item number 3, consent agenda. Are there any issues anybody would like to have pulled out or questions? Or are you ready to move forward with approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
First and a second. We do have those. Alderman Smith.
Yes.
Alderman Hilliard.
Yes.
Alderman Keeney.
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster.
Yes.
Alderman Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Swatosh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Item number 4, current outstanding invoice. There you go. Good. Very good. If you would take a moment to review the outstanding invoices, drag and check page invoices for March and April of 2024, and then we will, if you have any questions, we'll hear them, and otherwise we'll vote.
The installation of playground on page 3, is that at Miller or Jackson?
That is it, no.
What is all the rental for Van Keppel?
What page?
Page 3 of 5. Bucket rental, loader equipment, bucket rental for $2,124.
The Van Keppel equipment has been for us, various projects, dirt work, specialty items, so we don't tear up our equipment. And just actually specialty equipment we don't possess.
Is it the size of the bucket that we don't have, or?
Size of buckets, type of buckets, specifically for like ditching buckets, things like that. Size of buckets is the other big issue.
So we just spend how much money for equipment and we still don't have the equipment we need to be able to do jobs?
We have the equipment we need to do most of the jobs, yes, but as far as having every attachment necessary, no, we don't.
Yeah, okay. Just curious. Thank you.
I understand.
Was the water cooler a budget item?
What page?
I'm looking
Oh,
at
that's part of the,
part of the equipment, playground equipment,
yes, part of playground equipment, so
Okay.
it's part of
that budget.
that budget, yeah.
What page is it?
It was for Pittsburgh water cooler.
That's what I was just looking at. Does it, was it $7,000 for a water fountain or is
Yeah, that is
that a
a,
special water fountain?
that is a playground, ADA accessible frost-free fountain for the playground project. And
So that's not at Miller, that's at Jackson?
the water fountain is at Jackson.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, it is budgeted as part of the expense for the playground installation.
I'll make a motion to approve the outstanding invoice if there's no other questions at this time.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Smith,
Yeah.
Alderman Billiard,
Yes.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster,
Yes.
Alderman Hall, Alderman Spotted.
Yes.
Thank you.
Outstanding. All right. Item number 5, citizen input. If there's anybody that would like to step forward and give us your thoughts on anything you have to do with city business. Seeing none, we will move to item number 6, the ordinance approving the amendments to the city municipal code book, chapter 705, waterworks systems, section 705.040, water rates. We're going to discuss and have a second read. There any new questions that you had from the last meeting? Any concerns? Seeing none, we will go ahead and have that read then, please.
An ordinance amending Title 7, Utility, Chapter 705, Waterworks System, Article 2, Water Service, Section 705.040, Water Rates of the Municipal Code of the City of Willard.
The move to accept the ordinance as read.
Second.
Alderman Smith,
Yes.
Alderman Billiard,
Abstain until we get rate study completed.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster,
I will vote yes, and with the notation that the rate study has already been started. So,
Alderman Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Spotted.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Item number 7, ordinance approving the amendments to the city of Willard Municipal Code Book, chapter 710, sewer use and sewer rates, section 710.470 rates. We have discussion and vote for a second read. Do we have any new questions about the sewer rate increase?
I think the only question I have is it taking more months to get it done. Is there any way that they can step that process up to get it completed any quicker? And I know that's
You're
probably
talking
not.
about like the
The
rate study?
yes.
We'll have to reach out to Mr. Brown and find out about that. Carolyn?
Say something. We've already given him a lot of information. In fact, there's some minimal information yet to go to it, but we've already got a substantial amount of information to it.
And I knew, I knew that we, like I said, that's where I had kind of changed my stance that,
Yeah,
again, each month that it's delayed is just that much longer before we are having actual costs covered, so.
we're in the process of, we've put in capital improvements and going out 10 years and giving him that information on organizing it to put it together for him now.
Okay,
With Steve's help and staff, and we've gone a long ways on it,
okay,
so.
thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Could we have that second read, please?
An ordinance amending Title 7, Utilities, Chapter 710, Sewer Use and Sewer Rates, Article 7, Wastewater Charges and Rates, Section 710.470, Rates of the Municipal Code of the City of Willard.
I'll make a motion to approve as read.
A second.
We have our first and second. Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Gilliard?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Squatash?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Item number 8, an ordinance accepting a memorandum of understanding with the Joint Municipal Water Commission to reestablish membership. We had a first read at the last regular session. Are there any new information to bring forth or discussion to have? Seeing none, I would ask for that second read now, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Willard to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Joint Municipal Water Commission and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Willard.
Make a motion to approve as read.
We have the first and our second. Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Gilliard? Yes. Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Squatash?
Yes.
Very good. All right, well, we'll move forward. Item number 9, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept a proposal and contract with the Long Plumbing and Heating and Air for HVAC unit replacement at the Willard Recreation Center. We have any new information to bring forward on that, Mr. Knight? All right, then any new questions? This will be our second read. We had a discussion last meeting.
I know one of the issues that was discussed before was with the delay in getting, does he have the equipment on hand still, do you know?
I do not know if he's still there.
Just curious if you're gonna be sweating over there.
If we sweat this way. Goes to when you work out. Yeah.
Just call everything hot yoga, hot basketball,
Hot
hot
sand.
pickleball.
We'll charge extra for
Just
it.
market it, yeah. I don't know, it's extra. It's an additional revenue stream.
Adapt or perish. This is good.
Hopefully they have it on hand.
Could we have that second read, please?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Willard to accept a proposal and contract with DeLong Plumbing, Heating and Air for HVAC unit replacement at the Willard Recreation Center and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Willard.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as written.
Second.
Okay, Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Gilliard? Yes. Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Squatash?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item number 10, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept a purchase agreement with Greenhaw Buildings for metal building for public works. We'll have a first and a second read, but first we gotta get a little information and a discussion. Would you care to walk us through this, sir?
Absolutely. We finally found a contractor that would have time to work with us this year.
Good.
Yeah. But basically, all this is we've got our foundation, our plumbing roughed in, everything like that. It's get somebody to come in and frame up, do our trusses, do the tin on the building, get all that ready so that we can work on the interior ourselves at our leisure. It's doing the heavy lifting for us while we're busy elsewhere.
I will note that our office sent a revised contract today at about 1 o'clock. So the Exhibit A is really much more the scope of the contract, and we have all of the required and requisite language in the actual contract. So while your ordinance says for a metal building as described in Exhibit A, that is still the case, but the actual contract will be in addition to that.
Okay.
Just for clarification.
Sure.
So is this the Quonset head or whatever it was we had talked
No,
about
ma'am.
before?
It's the Public Works office.
Okay,
It's the addition onto our shop building.
and it was in the budget on this?
Yes.
Okay.
And are we asking them to include that option for removing metal on the end walls?
That was for removal of the end walls and replacement of it with the end walls so it will all match.
Right. But that is gonna be part of
That
what
would be
we're asking them to do.
That's what I was requested to do, so I had to put that in there as an item.
The job site will be cleaned of any wood, metal, and trash, ready for finished grading.
Any other questions? Anything else to give us on that?
I'll answer anything I can to the best of my ability. But I was always taught never to offer.
So just to clarify on that list, it says option add to total price $9,116 to remove metal on both end walls of existing building. Is that what you're talking about? That's
Yes,
going
ma'am.
to be included in it. So it'll be the $26,974 plus the $9,116.
Yes, ma'am.
Just so everybody understands what you're spending.
So $36,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Approximately.
Thank you. All right, well, if there are no other questions, I would ask for first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Willard to accept a purchase agreement with Green Hall Buildings LLC to construct a metal building at the Willard Public Works Department and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Willard.
I would make a motion to accept the ordinance as read.
Well, second.
We have our first and our second. Alderman Smith,
Yes.
Alderman Billiard.
Yes.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster,
Yes.
Alderman Hall,
Yes.
and Alderman Swallow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good, so we have a second reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Willard to accept a purchase agreement with Green Hall Buildings LLC to construct a metal building at the Willard Public Works Department and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Willard.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
I'll second.
Alderman Smith,
Yes.
Alderman Billiard. Yes. Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster,
Yes.
Alderman Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Swallow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Item number 11. Announcement of the election results. Mrs. Slater, walk us through this.
Yes, sir. I did reach out to Madison McFarland at the Greene County County Clerk's office today, and she did email me back these results. So of course, as everyone is aware, the mayoral vote was a tie. After the recount, that is still a tie. For Alderman Ward 1, we had Jeremy Hill, who received 101 votes, and Casey Billiard, who received 129 votes. For Alderman Ward 2, Joyce Lancaster ran unopposed. She received 211 votes. For Alderman Ward 3, Carol Wilson ran unopposed, and she received 156 votes.
Very good. Any questions on any of that? All right. Item 12, unfinished business. I wanted to make a couple of remarks regarding the election process that we're moving through tonight. It is a little different than what we have done in the past. But the city will be reaching out to both candidates to determine officially how they would like to resolve the election. It can be done if both agree with the coin toss. And if either party does not agree, then it goes to a runoff election. I've been talking to the county clerk regarding runoff elections. They have not hit with a fine pencil the cost, but it seems to be somewhere in the order of $6,500 or $7,000. And will take, based on the requirement to get the ballots done properly, get them printed, have time for absentee voting, it'll be a couple of months before that election takes place. So with that in mind, we will continue with the rest of our business as we normally would. In just a minute, we will have a closed session and the board will retire and everybody else is welcome to stay. It'll be a very short closed session and we will come back and then adjourn what we call the legislative session, which I didn't realize we had for Willard, and we will adjourn that as sine die. Very good. All right. Which just means we're ending this session, and then we will go right into swearing in the new elected officials and open back up for the rest of the meeting. This allows us to, what we've done up to this point is finish the outstanding work that we had with this current board, and we'll close that and move on with the new board. So that is, at this point, I believe the thoughts I had on all of this. So again, it is a little different than we've done historically. When we go into closed session, the board will retire to a different location, so you're welcome to stay. That's all I've got. I did allow time for alderman remarks as well, if any of the aldermen under unfinished business have anything that they would like to address. Seeing none, I will ask for a recess of the open session.
I'll make a motion to recess the session.
I'll second.
And we will be going into, that motion is pursuant to RSMO section 610.021 sub 3 sub 13, executive session regarding personnel.
So we recess, open executive in the same motion?
We recess and then we will call to order when we're in the closed.
Okay, very good.
We do have a first and a second. Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Billiard?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Swaltosh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. For your patience, could I have a motion to reconvene the open session?
Make a motion to open the regular session.
A second. Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Billiard?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Swaltosh?
Yes.
Very good. And could I have a motion to adjourn sine die?
I'll make a motion to adjourn sine die.
Second.
Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Billiard?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Hall?
Abstained.
For what reason?
For personal reasons.
Because he thinks it worked. Alderman Swaltosh?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Landon, thank you for your service. Item 17, administration. And we are adjourned to sine die. And so we will now administer the oaths of office for our newly elected officials, two of which we've seen before.
Do you? Where would you like us? Wherever you would like to. Thank you. I've only been here. Yes. I've noticed in the past. There's a lot of words. I, Casey Billiard,
I, Casey Billiard,
do hereby swear affirm
I do hereby swear affirm
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting the cities of this class
and the ordinances of the city,
and the ordinances of the city,
and faithfully demean myself
and faithfully demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
I will execute the duties
I will execute the duties
of Alderman
of Alderman
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability.
so help me
So help
God.
me God.
Thank you. I, Joyce Lancaster,
I, Joyce Lancaster,
do hereby swear affirm
do by here swear affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city,
of the city,
and faithfully demean myself
and faithfully demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
I will execute the duties of Alderman
I will execute the duties of Alderman
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I, Carol Wilson,
I, Carol Wilson,
do hereby swear affirm
do hereby swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of
Constitution
the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws
the provisions of all laws,
of the state affecting cities of this class,
all laws of the state affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city,
and the ordinances of the city,
and faithfully demean myself
and faithfully demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
I will execute the duties of Alderman
I will execute the duties of Alderman
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Come on up.
That's right.
Now, we allow new aldermen, no more than 30 minutes to talk about themselves.
Oh, my
Welcome.
Thank you.
You are welcome to tell us a little bit about yourself if you would like.
I came into the Willard district when I was about 3 or 4. I am a nurse. I'm a nursing home administrator. I'm an infection preventionist. All my kids, my grandkids, my dad, everybody went to Willard. So it's kind of a long Willardarian.
Thank you. Thank you for stepping up to serve. That's outstanding. Could we, I need to call the meeting to order. The new legislative session for Willard will hereby be called to order. And could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Billiard. Present. Alderman Keen.
Present.
Alderman Lancaster.
Present.
Alderman Swatosh.
Present.
And Alderman Wilson.
Present.
Thank you. Oh, Alderman Baird. Mayor Baird.
Either way, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you.
Still. All right, item number 20, sanitary sewer project status report. Mr. Bodenhammer, could you walk us through what we've got going?
Including your packet is a brief report of status of the sanitary sewer projects. The EPA congressional earmark 94 lift station, Force Main. Limix is working on some minor data problems regarding the variable frequency drive, but they are online and are operating. With regards to civil rights compliance or non-discrimination policies required to the EPA for the federal funding, we received approval from the EPA regarding our non-discrimination policies. And this satisfies our obligation of the 180-day agreement ahead of the April 18 deadline. We do have a little bit of work to do on our website to satisfy the EPA on its apparent availability when you click on it. But that's a minor detail. Jason, I'll work on that tomorrow. With regards to the Meadows connection, the city of Springfield for surveying is completed a couple weeks ago, and Augur Martin is working on plan and profile for the gravity sewer line. Basically, how deep, how shallow, get the grade straightened out, drop manholes, stuff like that. So that concludes where we stand on those projects right now.
Very good. Does anybody have questions about any of that? All right, and the Jackson Street overlay.
CJW plans to have preliminary engineering design available for review next week. Of course, we reported previously that we did get funding approval from the Federal Highway Administration. Following our review of the engineering design documents would be to submit these to MoDOT for their approval and subsequently the Federal Highway for their approval. Long, slow process to get some black stuff smeared on the street. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Thank you, sir. All right. Item number 22, new business. The first item is the code of conduct training with with our new attorney, Holly Dodge. So, what do we got?
So, just as a quick announcement, now that we've got everybody here, first and foremost, a reminder that prior to the next meeting in April at 4 o'clock, let's see, is it 4:30, we have our sunshine training. I want to also let you know that our office provides COT, that's city official training, in Mansfield on May 3rd and in Springfield on May 17th. That information, I believe, has been emailed to Donna. I can send it out to Donna has it, so let her know if you want to get registered for that. It will give you your code of conduct, it will give you sunshine law, public service contracts, it's an all-day thing, and it is feeding you not from a water hose or a lovely fountain, it is shooting you with the fire hose, and so we give you lots of information, but there are handouts. Which is of all the screenshots of the pages that we go through. So there's lots of information there about your responsibilities as a city official training. If you've never been to it, you really should go. It's for the electeds, but it's also for your directors. It's very helpful for them. I strongly encourage that. The MEC, which is the Missouri Ethics Commission, governs the acts of public officials. It also punishes with fines and hears and investigates any ethic violations. So I would strongly encourage you visiting and perusing it's just mec.org, I think. And that helps you walk through the constitutional requirement of no nepotism. You may not make a decision within 4 degrees of consanguinity, which is by blood. So it may seem like a confusing situation, but you cannot be a hiring party. So if somebody who is within the 4th degree is up for hiring, then you need to step off. The code of conduct is legislated through that and enforced through the MEC. I would point you to the prohibited acts of elected public officials at 105. That's RSMO 105 454. And it describes, it will surprise you what it doesn't describe, but it describes what you can and can't do. Mostly it's up to $500 per transaction or $5,000 per year. You can be a bidder, but it has to be competitive. There has to be public notice, and your bid has to be the lowest, not lowest and best. There are requirements which prohibit selling, renting, or leasing property to the entity with the same financial restrictions. And then the rest of it is about double dealing. Somebody can't pay you, a contractor can't pay you to advocate on behalf of them for a contract, something like that. And then it limits what some of the post work that can be done in regards to your action within office. The state regulates what the requirements are for elected officials. Elected officials can be removed from office pursuant to RSMO 79.240. It has to be for cause. It is based on a hearing. The hearing has to have witnesses, has to be held in front of the Board of Aldermen, sitting as the Board of Impeachment, and the vote must be a 2/3 vote of all elected Board of Aldermen. When that occurs, it has to be for cause. The courts have said that for cause needs to be not in their personal private life, unless it's a criminal activity that bleeds into what their expectations are in the position to which they are elected. It also said that it has to be objective and it cannot be for past performance. Those are essentially your means and mechanisms to ensure that someone acts appropriately as an elected. You have the Ethics Commission, which oversees and hears any complaints. You have criminal laws, which prohibit self-dealing or making a profit. Like if you go into the police station and take all of their bottled water, if they have an amount of bottled water, that would be a misuse of funds. If you took it to your own child's party. So that would be a criminal activity. That would be a violation of your ethical responsibilities. And it also would potentially be an impeachable aspect because it would be a breach of the trust that one would assume an alder would not do, right? So that's kind of your 3 layers. You can't create your own code of ethics. Even the failure to pay your taxes has to do with your ability to be a candidate for election. It is not whether or not you can maintain. The requirements, other than the for cause termination that I said in 79-240, you can't create those parameters of an elected is limited to that which the jurisdiction of the legislature has stated for your alderman and your mayor. So those requirements are put forth by your legislators, not by yourselves.
Any questions?
Apparently was enough confusion that everybody was like, oh, and the fire hose is way faster.
Exactly what I was
Let me tell you.
He warned us.
Warned you.
All right, law enforcement, Bill of Rights.
So one of the things that you need to be aware of is that in 2021, the legislature passed a specific protection for all law enforcement officers other than the highest ranking officer in the law enforcement agency. So if you are without a chief, whoever the highest ranking officer is, that person then is excluded from what we call the LEO, Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, BOR. So you'll hear it as LEO, BOR. Sometimes you'll just hear it as the BOR. The RSMO, Revised Statutes of Missouri, 590.502 is the statute that was passed and went into effect August 28th, 2021. It is currently being challenged by St. Louis. It went up to the Missouri Supreme Court. The Missouri Supreme Court found that there may be aspects of it that violate the Hancock Amendment. The Hancock Amendment says you can't pass down requirements to cities that require them to pay for things they can't afford. One of the provisions of the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights is in Section 7, which requires that employers shall defend and indemnify law enforcement officers from and against civil claims. You are required to pay out whatever a settlement or judgment is. You also are required to pay for the defense. As long as they're working in their official and individual capacity, even if they're off duty, as long as their actions were taken under the color of law. This applies to all of your sworn peace officers except for your highest ranking. And it applies to any time there is an economic loss defined as loss of overtime, accrual, sick leave, secondary employment, holiday pay, vacation day. It essentially prescribes specifically how, when an officer is under an administrative investigation, specifically how you have to question them. You no longer can turn to the lower ranking employee who is a law enforcement officer and say, what were you thinking? What did you do? That is an interrogation as part of an investigation for an administrative investigation. For that, you have to give them notice 24 hours ahead of time. They have the right to an attorney and or another person present that is not defined. In that 24-hour notice, it needs to tell what the complaint is. In regards to that, you may have co-occurring investigations, right? You're administrative, you were a bad employee, and you also have a criminal act if it's excessive use of force. So there has to be a separation of who those investigators are. They can't be the same. You have to, prior to the investigation, tell them who will be performing the investigation. They can only be questioned by 2 investigators, no more than 2. The interview session has to be for a reasonable time, and prior to the investigation interrogation, you must give them the Garrity warning. The Garrity warning is that anything you say can't be used against you because we're ordering you as part of your employment to answer the questions. There is a case that says they still have the right to the 5th Amendment. So we have to be careful and clear when we're giving the Garrity warning that they have a right to remain silent. They are not mandated, but that cannot be used against them, which you can imagine doesn't make prosecutors very happy when they're looking at the criminal aspect of it. It also says that during the questioning, that then the next process in that investigation has a specific appeal process, and in that specific appeal process, there are 6 enumerated rights, which are that in their appeal, they have a right to be represented by an attorney or an individual of their choice, at least 7 days notice of the date and time, an opportunity to access all documents utilized for that determination at least 7 days in advance of the hearing, that they have a right to refuse to testify. They have a right to a record being kept in that investigation, and they have that record for the administrative investigation is not subject to the Sunshine Law. It has to be overridden by a court order and is to be kept confidential. So there are very particular process. There's a very particular process then in how that appeal shakes out. But the Hancock Amendment portion of it is that you must defend them. It also is that if you utilize a discipline that has an economic effect, any economic effect, that they have a right to that money back if it's found that you had disciplined improperly. They also have a right to attorney's fees. And if you have violated any provisions of this section, the action is void. They have 1 year to appeal it based on that. So keep that in mind when you hear stories about terrible or allegedly terrible acts by a particular officer and all of the elected say nothing. It's because they can't. You absolutely cannot. You create a liability. And that's the same. There's a different protection for a chief law enforcement officer. That's under RSMO 106-273. They can only be terminated under just cause, and just cause is defined under A, that they are unable to perform their duties with reasonable competence or safety as a result of mental condition, including alcohol and substance abuse, that they've committed an act while engaged in performing their duty that constitutes a reckless disregard for the safety of the public or another law enforcement officer, that they have caused a material fact to be misrepresented for an improper or unlawful purpose, hiding information, and for acts in any manner for the sole purpose of furthering their own personal self-interest, or if they have been found to have violated any law, statute, or ordinance which constitutes a felony. So there are some of your ordinances which also are felonies. So just being found to have violated an ordinance, if it also is a felony, would be a basis for that. Found deemed insubordinate or found to be in violation of a written established policy, unless such claimed insubordination or violation of a written established policy was in violation of federal, state law, or local ordinance. So violation of that, of course, is overrun if what they would have been told to do is illegal in and of itself. So there is a hearing process also for chief. So that's why we hear often very little while those are going on. Bear in mind that particular officer or that particular chief has their own right, First Amendment right, to talk about whatever they want to when they're outside the business, right? So they can tell the story. You can't tell the story. So all of that hearing and everything is private and confidential. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. It puts Board of Aldermen in a difficult situation in some situations because they want to have something to say. Things aren't done quickly. You will notice that in Missouri, oftentimes when there is an investigation, that particular law enforcement officer remains on the payroll. And that's why. You have to go through that appeal process, and that appeal process you can't talk about. It's confidential. Now, Debbie Downer is done. Thank you.
Somebody bring me a towel. All right, is there any other new business? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. We do have a first and a second. Alderman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Billiard? Yes. Alderman King? Yes. Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Swaltosh?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're done.